Alright, it's that time again. I'm making a tier list of everything in season 15, or almost everything. Got the legends, the weapons, the maps, and the battle pass. Also, I'm just gonna like assume the hop up is on the weapons, so I don't have to do that separate. It just makes it a little easier. Vantage and Catalyst are in the game now, and you know, new hop ups came in and out, stuff like that. Brand new map, of course. So yeah. Also, you can follow me on everything. Prod.by.KaJ is all the socials. This is just my opinion. If you don't like it, the world will keep spinning. I promise. Anyways, let's get to the legends. So in the S tier, got Bloodhound. I don't think I need to explain why Bloodhound's there. Super consistent, scan meta, and then you know Valk also scan, and then a walking jump tower. I also got Horizon, the best offensive character in the game at the moment. I mean, just pouncing on everybody, just some white lady just attacking people.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
And despite not being quite as powerful as he was before, I still got Gibby in S tier, and I also added Newcastle because those two were just tankish people. You know, Newcastle got the best res right now since RIP Lifeline. She ain't dead, but she dead right now. I think Newcastle's ult is probably his weakest ability, but I think the fact that he can move cover around and play it like a bubble rotating it, he can put it on a door so you can't kick it. It's like, it's nice. And of course, Seer. We don't call it the Seer meta for nothing. Like, he has to be S tier. It's the meta is named after him. In A tier, we got Ashe. You know, the portal, super good. To me, at least, I mean, it's just fast. A to B, you don't have to like run up all the hills and shit with Wraith like you have to do with her. Tactical probably her weakest ability, and her passive is good. Just the fact that you can see depth across the entire map, especially when you're playing Storm Point, you're trying to rotate, or even on Broken Moon, which is like feels like a super big map, all the open space, and then any ranked map really, it just helps in ranked in general. And for pubs, if you're just trying to go for high kill games. The short one, Wraith, I still think she's pretty good. Her portal is always going to keep her at least A tier for me, unless they just really just, they have to just take away the portal. I think the portal is always going to be useful to a degree, and I wish the, you know, the wind up on the Q was faster, but I think it's still good. Like the fact he can go invincible is always going to be a little bit of value. And then her mental illness, it don't work well at all. It's there. If it worked like how they intended, I think it'd be a great passive, but I mean, it's there, you know. I got Vantage in A tier. She's very situational, which is why I don't have her in S, but the fact that she carries around 3 weapons and it's like almost all the time, it's not like Rampart you got to get it to 100%. The fact you can see people's armor, how many people are on the team before you fight them, is also pretty valuable. And you know, just a movement ability, it's like recon, movement, and a third weapon, like a recipe for success. It's just like, sometimes it's like, why would I pick up this bow check and not just give it to a teammate when I have a whole sniper? So it makes it a little bit weird with how you run a loadout. Like you can definitely use whatever you want, but sometimes it's just redundant to use certain weapons when you're playing Vantage. And also like Wraith, her wind up on her Q is pretty long, so it's like you gotta just plan when you use it like way ahead. And we got 2 speedy people, Maggie and Octane. I say speedy because Maggie runs faster with a shotgun, which I think is super helpful when you're trying to when you're in a close range fight and you're trying to close a gap, someone tries to dip off. If they put their gun away, they at least have to wait for their gun to re-equip before they can start firing, which isn't that long of a time, but when you have a shotgun, you can still get off 100 damage with a PK, so I think it's always gonna matter. I think her drill is really good now. It shoots like a literal bullet now, which is kind of crazy. And the wrecking ball is solid. It's all, I feel like her abilities apply to fights very well, but it's just like the wrecking ball as a rotational ability isn't the best, which is why I won't give her S tier. And there's Loba also in A tier. She got the loot, she got the movement ability, and she can just see where loot is as a passive. I mean, pretty solid, honestly. As long as the bracelet work. Only thing about her, that bracelet be breaking all the time, and it's kind of annoying, but when she's working, she's A tier. And then there's also Caustic, who, I mean, he's always gonna be annoying, the camping king pretty much, but solid character. I can't give him anything below A tier, to be honest. In the B, we got the newbie Catalyst. My downfall with her is her ult right now. I still don't know if it's actually bugged where it's supposed to block Seer's ult, or if it's supposed to be like that and we just kind of jumped the gun with the trailer and everything. But yeah, I think her ult is, her Q is good. I think it's just, I don't know, maybe it needs like a wider radius, or maybe I just have to learn how to place it better. I don't think it's the greatest thing. I think that's her weakest ability for sure, but her passive is great. Like being able to just make a door, even if there's one not there, or just make an existing door 4 kicks, that's great. I think she's solid in B tier because her other abilities a little bit lacking compared to her great passive. And I got Crypto, and if you're surprised, don't be. Crypto is a good legend. His pick rate is always going to be super low because he has the skills gap, but I think Crypto is actually a very good legend. It's just the fact that everything relies on the drone. That's what drags him down for me so much. That's always going to be what's dragging down. Maybe I could slide him in A tier. If you want to argue A tier, that's fine, but especially now that he can throw it out, I think he's a little bit more viable, because the fact that you had to go in the drone just to even get the drone out to scan was kind of whack, because it takes a few seconds. that few seconds is time you don't have when you're in a fight sometimes. And I got Fuse, just the full grenade man. The biggest downfall of him is his ult. I think the ult is just not good, just flat out. I know people learned how to do the thing where you fire a knuckle cluster in the air, you aim the ult at it, and it makes like a super large ring. It's like, yeah, but like, why do we need a tech to make this ult decent? You know what I mean? Like, it's not that great. It's just not. His knuckle clusters and holding more grenades, that's good. In fact, you can just spam, especially when someone's holding a building, you just spam people. I had a game where I accidentally got fused because I wasn't paying attention. I got hella damage just flushing people out of buildings with knuckle clusters and grenades. Like, he's solid. Also got Rampart, defensive legend. I don't really know how to make her A tier. If you want to argue she's A tier, I wouldn't be mad at it, but just don't say S. I don't think she's S at all. But I think the fact that she can run around with a turret made her way more viable. She was very, very stationary before, but the fact that her walls are going up faster, she can move with the turret, and on top of that, her LMG passive, I think that it's like a weak ability because LMGs get outclassed by everything right now. If you have a turbo devo, you'll be fine, but like, how often are you gonna have that? Especially when the turbo havoc is also an option. We got Revenant, just decent, like just the definition of decent. I think his Q is what makes him a little bit better than C tier for me, because taking away abilities is definitely a big thing mid-fight, and on top of the fact that his just totem just fighting 2 lives. The big blast radius though, when they added that, that's what made him a little bit weaker. Like, I would have had him A tier, but the fact that you're telling a lot of people where you're at all at once just to get this push off is kind of bad, especially when people can just run up behind you that weren't in the fight before, take your totem, and let's say you run out of time with it, now they're coming to kill you using your own totem. And also in B tier we have Pathfinder, Mr. No Passive. I wish he had one, really do. I don't think his time is coming anytime soon, to be honest. But besides that, the grapple's always been fun. It's always been good. And the zip lines, it's still useful, but there's just better rotational abilities, aka Valk. So I think he just kind of as time went on, other characters passed him up, and he's just sitting in B tier right now for me. Then in C tier, we got my mains. Well, one of them is my main. I haven't played Watson, which is one of them in C tier in a while, but Watson, just way too stationary for the game right now. I mean, she's fun. I like playing her sometimes, not as much as I used to, but yeah, you just can't be that stationary with this game right now. You just can't. So that's always gonna be the reason she's not in like the upper echelon. She used to be really good in ranked back in the day of like season 2 to like 4 or something like that, but as of right now, I got her in C, just better defensive legends, aka Catalyst and Caustic. So yeah, I got her in C right now. There's also Bangalore. It's a scan meta, and she fires smoke grenades that she gets scanned through. So she's just, the meta is built against her. She's still solid. She has a really good passive, making you move faster, which is always going to be good. And her airstrike is good for like killing people off of high ground or just getting damage off. If you do hit somebody with that airstrike, bro, it's so easy to kill them when they're stunned like that. So when it hits, it's great. If not, it's just good for clearing out the area and just moving people off of wherever platform they're sitting on. But because of the scan meta, she's C tier. Normally I'd always have her in B, but when you're getting looked at with a heartbeat sensor by Seer, not even queuing, or you're getting scanned by Bloodhound, it's like, bro, come on. Well, what are we supposed to do is Bangalore. Then in D tier, we got Mirage, to nobody's surprise. I'm not going to explain why he's there. But we also have Lifeline, which, RIP. I just got her heirloom the other last week. I love the heirloom, but the character, bro, she needs to be a better medic. My problem with her right now, my main problem, well, 2 things. One, her res is so annoying to use, because when you are trying to fight, be a combat medic, you get slowed to it like a full stop when you go to res someone. That's super annoying. The other thing is the care pack. You gotta tell everyone where you at just to get some loot. So she needs some different ult. I don't have the answer to what it should be, but they did buff it, so it's better. It gives you guaranteed upgrades, so that's great. Gibby and Newcastle both have better res abilities, and they're not even support. The only other support legend in the game is Loba, and she has a normal res, nothing. Her support is all loot based, but you got the defensive legends resin better than you. That's crazy. But we're gonna skip through the weapons very fast. The S tier is gonna be pretty simple. We got the 301, Flatline, Volt, Car, Peacekeeper, Kraber, the RE, which is hella strong. I beams the people like quick with that thing. Anyways, the Bocek, Havoc, and the G7. Also, we're gonna assume hop-ups are on their like full capacity guns. In the A tier, we have the charge rifle, the 9, the Prowler, which if you want to put that in B tier, I get it, but the Prowler is strong. It takes some practice, but it is a very strong gun, to be honest. Sentinel, Longbow, Mastiff, Eva, and the triple take. The Mastiff is back on the floor. It hits like, the most I hit consistently is like 88, so it's still good, but the reason it's below the PK in A tier, because the PK can hit you for 100 just way more regularly than you will with a Mastiff. So I find that to be, you know, if it's a shotgun, it does fire faster than PK. So I think that makes up for it with the lower damage, but I'm taking the PK. I want to hit the most damage in one shot as possible because, I mean, that's what a shotgun should be for. And the triple take, I think it's also good, especially since it has, you know, faster charge up now. So it's easier to hit more damage more consistently. But the G7 fires faster with double tap. It's insane. So it doesn't compete with that level of a marksman rifle, so I just dropped it to A tier. In B tier, we have the Hemlock, Spitfire, Rampage, Repeater, and the Devo. The Hemlock is good. Like the Hemlock, it's just solid, but I mean, every other AR is better, so can't really give it that much credit because when I see a Flatliner or a 301 sitting on the ground, especially since those have Anvil now, like I'm dropping it because even if we're on Storm Point, I'll flip my 301 on Anvil and use that over a Hemlock. Spitfire and Rampage. Spitfire, I mean, it's just okay, but gets beat up by every AR. The Rampage, same thing. Even if it is in the care package and comes with a thermite, still I never pick that thing up. I take the thermite, but the Rampage, I'll leave that sitting in there. I think a lot of people do. Then the Repeater, similar to the case with the triple take, is decent because it has a built-in hop up with just the dual shell, but the G7 just fires faster, and with the double tap it just hits so strong that even without the double tap, the fast fire rate hitting 30, I think it's like 34 a shot, is a lot of damage that can be put out. Now I know the Repeater does take the skull piercer, but to get like the full effect of that, you gotta charge it up, and the triple take has a faster charge up time than that and hits still very strong without having skull piercer. So I think B tier is where it sits. Put the Devo in A tier since I'm assuming hop ups are on there, so yeah, I'm gonna put it in A tier. I would still pick up a Havoc with turbo over the Devo with turbo, but I'm saying A tier. The only reason I bring it down is just because of the range. It's a lot easier in my opinion to control a Havoc with a 3x, let's say, than it is with a Devo recoil wise. And in the C tier, we have the Alternator and the L-Star. Just get outclassed by everything else in the game except for the weapons in D tier who lost the hammer point, so they are pretty much back to just the poop you leave on the floor, the P2020 and the beak. But something you should not leave behind is the like button. Go ahead and tap that, helps the channel out, and let me know what you think of the tier list so far in the comments. And if you don't have an opinion to give, just drop an emoji, just helps out the algorithm English with engagement and things like that. But yeah, real quick, let's just rate the battle pass. I give it B tier. You know why? The charge rifle is the 110, and granted I'm the one that said in the video that it had to happen at some point. The thing dropped back in season 3, but we are like strong charge rifle haters on this side, so it's going down to B tier. The other skins are fire though. Like that Havoc skin in the beginning is tough. The Revenant skin is hard. There's one more that I can't remember, but yeah, like the battle pass overall is pretty solid, but since the charge rifle is in there, dropping it to B tier. If you don't agree, don't care. But last but not least, let's get to the maps. In S tier, I have Olympus and World's Edge. Reason being, they play well for pubs and rank, which I think is the most important thing if I'm going to give a map a rating. Stormpoint is in B tier because it plays really well for ranks, but just not that great for pubs. I don't think it's as bad as people say. I still have fun playing on Stormpoint pubs, but just not as much as all the other maps. And just going up to A tier, I have Kings Canyon and Broken Moon. Broken Moon plays okay for pubs, and I think it's going to play, as time goes on, really good for ranked, so which is why it's not like good in both, so it's not going to be in S tier. And on the other hand, the Kings Canyon, I think it plays well for pubs and just not as good for ranks. So yeah, I think it balances well to be an A tier. And yeah, Olympus is still my favorite map in the game. World's Edge is just, it's cool in second place, but the fact that I have to go Fragment or Siphon, and if not, I will see 8 other squads after like 2 minutes, is a little trifling. But I think it's still fun to play for pubs because of Siphon and Fragment, so that's why I still keep it in S tier. You can follow me on everything at prod.by.KaJ. Leave a like on the video, like I said. Let me know what you think. If you hate it, you love it, the world will spin regardless, so don't get too riled up. And if you missed my last video, what could go missing in season 15, it's on the video right now. Go ahead and click that. I'll see you there.